has the second largest refugee
Trump administration, his legal team requested the recount in Georgia. The outcome was a victory for Biden. Was that a game changer?
No, not at all. We asked them to do it by matching signatures, which they refused to do. So basically, and then we wrote a letter that we didn't think it was necessary. I mean, it's ridiculous to just count the same ballots when we contend that in that case, about 40 or 50,000 of them are illegally cast. And the only way you're going to find that out is matching the signatures and showing that, in essence, they stuffed the ballot box. And the signatures are all going to be off. They're not going to match with the ballots. They wouldn't do that, so we'll bring a lawsuit either today or tomorrow to sue them. It's the only way. I mean, they're making it much, much longer because they won't do the thing that tells you whether they cheated or not. They just go and recanvass. So let's say we're right, and they put 50,000 ballots in illegally because we never got a chance to inspect any of these ballots. We have no idea if they did or they didn't. The only way we're going to find out is when we examine those ballots one at a time against the signatures. They didn't do that.
So do you have evidence?
It was a waste of time and a waste of money.
You have evidence that there was actual voter fraud in Georgia,
yes.
in New Mexico,
yes,
in Arizona?
Arizona, we haven't filed a suit yet, so I better not say that. Here's where we have evidence. We have evidence, a lot of evidence. We have evidence in Pennsylvania. We've submitted that to a court. We have evidence in Michigan. We've submitted that to 2 courts. When I say evidence, in both cases, we have in excess of 100 affidavits. We have evidence in Wisconsin. We filed suit two days ago in Wisconsin, and we filed suit in Nevada 2 days ago. The idea, I mean, I heard Professor Turley on saying we didn't give specifics. I don't know how more specific we can be. We have affidavits. I read for them. I showed you the affidavits. Lawsuits don't get more specific than that until you go to trial. I mean, we have an extraordinary amount of affidavits.
I think people forget that you were like a major prosecutor in New York City. You was the U.S. attorney at one point. Now, you're in D.C. right now.
I am, yes.
And
yes.
you're going to meet with the president this afternoon because he's bringing in some Michigan officials. What's going to happen this afternoon?
Well, I mean, it really depends on them and the president. I'm there just to answer any questions they have. Because I probably know the case better than anybody else. Myself, Sidney, Jenna are in charge of the case, so we know the case better than anyone. And we kind of resent when people say, "Oh, they have those specifics." We've been putting out specifics every day. I read an affidavit from a woman who's a longtime 30-year member of the Detroit Democrat Party who got so disgusted she basically, I hate to put it this way, she turned state's evidence, right? So she gave us the whole inside story of what they were doing. And she submitted an affidavit under penalty of perjury. So you got to take it seriously. You can't just say, "Oh, well, we don't believe that." And we got another 99 backing her up in one way or another. Huh. So we have a real case. And this is the fastest we can go with the case. We can't force the judge to have a trial. That's what we're pushing him toward. As soon as we have a trial, you'll be able to hear those witnesses on the witness stand. And I've put out, and I'll put out a few more, I put out a few examples of what we have so that people can see we're not making this up. It's based on other people's testimony.
Gotcha.
I can't give you all the affidavits, honestly, because the witnesses won't let me. They're afraid of harassment. This has been a very strange, I think you have to admit, situation. I don't think I've ever been in a civil lawsuit where this kind of threat takes place.
So
it's
let
terrible.
me ask you,
people are afraid.
Where's the president? Because, I mean, we haven't seen much of him. I know that you've been in the White House every day. You have to get the COVID test before you go in to see the president. So what's the president's mood? Is he
President's
positive?
mood, I mean, I think you'd find him exactly the same. President Trump, Donald Trump, who you've interviewed many times, he has a great equanimity. I mean, that got him through the impeachment. I used to be amazed. I would get very upset over something. I'd go see him and think he'd be very upset. He was nice and calm, and he takes things in his stride. He now, from the evidence we've gathered, he now firmly believes that the election was stolen, as I do. I think that we have evidence of fraud in so many places, so similar in the way it was carried out, that there had to be a common plan or scheme for this. 10 people, 10 Democrat leaders in 10 Democrat-dominated cities don't wake up on election morning and say, we're going to have barricades for the Republican inspectors and keep them out, when they had never done that before in their lives. They didn't each independently come up with that idea. It had to have been part of the plan of the Biden campaign. And once they heard the complaints about it, if they didn't want it to happen, the Biden campaign was perfectly capable of saying, hey, cut that out. Stop acting like goons. And the reality is they counted 682,770 ballots in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and not a single Republican got a chance to put their eyes on it. And those are the absentee ballots, where the law requires that we be allowed to do that, or the ballot is null and void. Well, the ballot's null and void, and that's what we have to go to court to assert.
May I ask you this? So, Stacey, I was listening to an interview with Stacey Abrams, who was, you know, of course, the architect in great part to turning Georgia blue. And she was talking about the litigation and what's going on right now. And she was saying that it's tantamount to reversing the mitigation of voter suppression. What would you say to that?
First, I'm not sure I know that. I mean, she is the one who devised the ridiculous scheme in Georgia for mail-in voting, a scheme, by the way, that President Jimmy Carter said if we ever had mail-in voting, it would be a disaster. It would be filled with fraud. That's in a report written by Jimmy Carter and James Baker. Justice Souter said the same thing. And the fact is they cheated left and right in Georgia. I mean, how about the fact that there are precincts in Georgia where double the number of registered voters voted? That's a trick. I mean, you got to empty out the graveyard for that, right? Let's say you got 10,000 people in a district. Well, that's too many. 5,000. And 10,000 people voted. They either voted twice, or people were brought in from other places to vote, or they got the dead people to vote, or they just put in phony ballots. Probably all of the above. That lawsuit, we had to wait until the count was over. That lawsuit will be brought today or tomorrow. It'll probably be one of our biggest.
Is there an end game, Mr. Giuliani? If at some point when you consider, you know, going through all the lawsuits, and if the judges end up either tossing or there's a clear count of a Biden win, will there be a time where the president will be able to accept, if indeed it happens, that there will?
I mean, but the point is, we want our legal claims heard. We want the opportunity to bring our evidence in front of judges of the American people and decide. Right now, we've been subjected to one of the worst censorships I've ever seen in American history. I mean, I can come on here and talk to you, God bless you, but I mean, most of the networks won't have me on. And the minute I say the word fraud, they'll cut me off, the way Neil Cavuto did to Kayleigh McEnany. I mean, if I just say the word fraud, poof, they just cut it off.
Well, I'm just happy that you're on Good Day New York. We're hearing your perspective, and you look good, because yesterday everybody was concerned about your health. Are you okay?
Well, I should tell everybody thought I had COVID. I didn't. I have a very bad knee, my left knee, which needs to be operated on. And it locks up sometimes, and then I really shouldn't be standing, but
and it was hot.
I don't like to look like an invalid.
It looked like it was hot during that press conference.
That just makes you more and more uncomfortable. So and it was hot there, but it makes you more and more uncomfortable. But the heck with it. I don't even realize it, because when I get into arguing a case, that's all I'm thinking about. I mean, I could have looked like a maniac, and I wouldn't have known the difference.
Well, we're happy that you're feeling well today.
I get very excited being a lawyer again. This is my true love.
Well, Rudy Giuliani, all the best to you.